The Galactic Trade Summit was the safest place in the galaxy. Thousands of ships floated above the capital world. Diplomats, merchants, and leaders gathered to discuss power, trade, and control. Weapons were not allowed. War fleets stayed outside the system. This was neutral ground. Then the human ships arrived. They did not bring warships. They did not bring soldiers. They brought containers. Huge black metal containers. No logos. No company name. No trade record. Just silent cargo drifting into orbit around the summit station. At first, the alien leaders laughed. Humans still move goods in boxes. One delegate joked. How primitive. But the system logs showed something strange. The containers were not registered. No docking request was sent. Yet the station AI cleared them automatically. Security scanned the cargo. Result, unknown material. Energy reading, dormant but active. Internal structure, blocked. The summit security chief demanded answers. Earth's ambassador stood calmly in the main chamber. They are part of our presentation, he said. That was all. Hours passed. The containers did not move. They did not transmit signals. They just waited in perfect formation above the summit. Then, without warning, every long-range communication array shut down. Trade ships lost contact. Defense satellites froze. The galactic network went silent. Inside the chamber, fear spread quickly. And in orbit, one container began to open. The container did not explode. It unfolded. Metal plates shifted slowly, like a machine waking from sleep. Lights flickered along its surface. The black shell opened in perfect silence. Inside was not cargo. Inside was a sphere made of dark silver metal. It had no weapons, no engines, no visible controls. It simply floated upward into open space. The summit station alarm started ringing. Security ships tried to move closer, but their engines failed. Navigation systems stopped responding. Weapon systems locked. Across the entire capital world, screens flickered. Trade networks crashed. Banking systems froze. Military satellites went blind. The sphere began to glow. A single message appeared on every active display in the system. Not in alien language, in human standard. Balance has been broken. Inside the summit chamber, panic spread fast. What is this? Is this an attack? Shut it down. But nothing responded. The Galactic Trade Council had secretly planned to control human trade routes. They believed humans were weak and divided. They thought economic pressure would force Earth to obey. They were wrong. More containers started opening, one by one, each releasing another sphere. Within minutes, the entire summit system was surrounded by silent floating objects. They did not fire. They did not threaten. They simply controlled everything. Hyperspace lanes locked. Communications blocked. Fleet movements frozen. Earth's ambassador finally spoke again. You invited us here to limit our power, he said calmly. So we decided to show you our real power. And for the first time in history, the Galactic Trade Summit realized it was no longer in control. The Galactic Council had planned this summit for years. They smiled at humans. They signed trade agreements. They spoke about peace and cooperation. But behind closed doors, they prepared restrictions. New taxes on human cargo. Limited access to hyperspace lanes. Slow removal of Earth from key trade routes. They believed humans depended too much on galactic markets. They thought pressure would make Earth obey. But humanity had known. For months, human intelligence ships quietly mapped the summit system. They studied its satellites, defense grids, and trade servers. They watched. They calculated. The containers were never random. Each sphere now in orbit linked together. Thin beams of invisible energy connected them, forming a silent network around the entire system. A control web. Every ship trying to leave the summit found hyperspace blocked. Every message sent outside returned an error. The system was sealed but not damaged. Inside the chamber, fear turned into anger. You are holding us hostage, one warlord shouted. The human ambassador shook his head. No, we are preventing imbalance. He pressed a small device on the table. A hologram appeared above the chamber floor. It showed economic projections. If the Council continued their hidden sanctions, human trade would fall by 40%. But if humanity activated the full container network, galactic trade would collapse by 70% in 3 days. Gasps filled the room. No fleets were destroyed. No cities were bombed. Yet the threat was greater than war. The humans had not brought weapons. They had brought leverage. And now the most powerful leaders in the galaxy understood something terrifying. They had underestimated the quiet species from Earth. Silence filled the chamber. For the first time in Summit history, no one argued. The hologram above the table changed. It now showed supply routes across the galaxy. Bright lines connected worlds. Food shipments, fuel transfers, medical cargo, weapon parts. Then the lines began to disappear. Not destroyed. Paused. Simulation only, the human ambassador said calmly. If we activate full control, these routes will freeze. A cold feeling spread across the room. Several empires depended on daily imports. Some worlds had only weeks of food reserves. Military fleets relied on constant fuel supply from distant refineries. The Council had believed power came from fleets and weapons. But humans understood something different. Power came from systems. One alien delegate tried to stand. You would destroy the economy of the entire galaxy? The ambassador looked at him quietly. No, we would restore balance. Another container opened in orbit. This one released small drone units. They moved quickly and attached themselves to communication satellites. Screens across the chamber changed again. Now they showed live control access, hyperspace gates, trade lanes, financial networks. All accessible, all within human reach. Yet nothing was being damaged. Nothing was burning. The summit security chief whispered, "They planned this for years." Yes, they had. Humanity had watched the Council build quiet pressure. They had listened to every closed-door agreement. And instead of reacting with anger, they prepared. No threats, no explosions, just absolute control. The most powerful leaders in the galaxy finally understood. War was simple. This was something far more dangerous. This was strategy. The chamber lights felt colder now. No one laughed anymore. No one whispered. The containers still floated in orbit. The silver spheres remained still, glowing softly. They did not attack. They did not move. They simply waited. The human ambassador stepped forward. "We did not come to destroy the summit," he said calmly. "We came because you plan to control us." He touched the console again. The hologram changed. 2 futures appeared above the table. In the first future, the Council continued their hidden sanctions. Human trade was cut. Earth responded. The container network activated fully. Trade routes across the galaxy shut down. Markets crashed. Smaller worlds faced shortages. Fleets were stranded without fuel. Not war, but collapse. In the second future, the Council removed their restrictions. Trade became equal. Human jump gates remained open. Cooperation continued. Growth, stability, shared power. The choice was simple, but pride made it heavy. A powerful empire leader stood up slowly. "You came prepared to cripple us." The ambassador nodded once. "Yes, because you prepared to cripple us first." Silence again. The Council began private votes. Messages passed quietly between delegates. For the first time, they were not discussing how to limit humanity. They were discussing survival. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the Central Council light turned blue. Decision reached. Sanctions canceled. Trade equalized. Secret agreements dissolved. The containers remained in orbit, still closed around their silent spheres. Humanity did not cheer. They did not celebrate. They simply proved a point. And the galaxy understood something new that day. Humans did not fear pressure. They answered it. The vote was finished. The sanctions were removed. The secret agreements were erased. Slowly, communication systems across the summit came back online. Ships regained control. Trade networks restarted. The galactic signal returned. But nothing felt the same. In orbit, the silver spheres began to power down. One by one, they returned to their containers. The metal shells closed again, silent and smooth. No shots had been fired. No ships were destroyed. Yet the balance of the galaxy had changed forever. Many leaders still did not understand. "What technology is this?" one asked quietly. The human ambassador gave a simple answer: "It is not just technology." Weeks later, reports spread across the galaxy. Analysts studied the event. Engineers tried to explain the system. Military commanders searched for weaknesses. They found something unexpected. The containers did not hold superweapons. They held coordination systems, quantum link processors, economic override keys, strategic control networks built over decades. What was inside the containers was not destruction. It was preparation. Humanity had studied every trade route, every fuel supply chain, every communication hub. They had mapped the galaxy not to conquer it, but to understand it. And when pressure came, they responded with planning. The summit world watched as a human cargo fleet finally departed. The containers left orbit quietly, but the message stayed. Humans were not loud. They were not reckless. They were patient. And patience, when combined with unity, was more powerful than any fleet. The Galactic Trade Summit would never forget the day it went silent, because that was the day humanity proved its true strength.